factual basis for this case has completely fallen apart. Those are the words of Jennifer Robinson, a human rights attorney who has been advising Julian Assange and WikiLeaks since 2010, after a key witness of the U.S. DOJ admitted to lying to investigators in order to secure immunity from prosecution for himself. The convicted hacker, Siggy Thordarson, claimed he was a prominent WikiLeaks hacker and was instructed by Assange to carry out attacks. The reality was he was barely loosely associated with Assange or WikiLeaks. It's unknown why Thordarson came clean to an Icelandic newspaper, but the article suggests the DOJ collaborated with him in order to indict Assange. For more on this bombshell, we'll bring in former UK MP George Galloway, who is also a personal friend of Julian Assange. So, George, what went through your mind when this news broke?
There's a Russian saying, after the war, a lot of brave soldiers turn up. And that's happening today, and I'm very happy about it. I have no mixed feelings about it. Politicians in Britain who've been silent all this decade are now speaking out, demanding to see Julian Assange, demanding to be allowed into the prison. Because, as you just said in the introduction, the case, long discredited, has now completely collapsed. The star witness that Judge Barrister relied upon in finding against Julian on every count except the count of his mental health being insufficiently robust to survive American solitary confinement, is now utterly bereft of credibility. This man was promised immunity by the FBI. Immunity from what? Well, charges of significant multi-thousand-dollar embezzlement for a start, but other charges too. So this man collaborated with the US justice system to lie about Julian Assange, who now lies in a maximum security jail in England, in London, without a shred of justification. So the tectonic plates are moving, Manila, and it's an earthquake that has occurred in the Julian Assange story.
Absolutely, George. So the U.S. DOJ and the Biden administration have been mum about this so far. So has the U.S. mainstream media. Nothing from the U.S. government, nothing from the U.S. media. Is there any coincidence or link between the two similar reactions?
Well, no news is good news in this case. Biden's administration has not compounded or dug down deeper on the Trump administration's attitude to it. So they don't have so far to climb down. If they were to announce now, as Julian's partner, the mother of his children, has asked them to do, to show that America has changed since the election of President Biden, he could do so without having to eat any of his words, at least any words spoken since he became president. So I'm glad that the US administration is keeping mum about it. There's no longer the remotest scintilla of justification for holding Julian in a maximum security jail where COVID has raged and where the conditions alongside mass murderers and convicted terrorists and so on, no justification at all.
Well, let's be clear about something, George. The hunt for Julian began in June of 2011 under Barack Obama and Eric Holder's DOJ. It carried on under Trump and Bill Barr. It's continuing now under Biden and Merrick Garland, who, by the way, was Barack Obama's SCOTUS nominee. Why have 3 U.S. administrations pursued Julian?
Well, it's a bipartisan hatred of the truth. We both know that Julian is guilty of nothing other than telling the truth. Not a single word he's ever written or revealed has turned out to be untrue. I wish the rest of our media could say the same. So he's on trial, he's behind bars, merely for telling the truth. And there's a bipartisan hatred of the truth, uncomfortable truth, in Washington and, of course, in London.
And real quickly, George, last minute here, where might this new information lead the case? Do you see the DOJ dropping it? Will the UK courts now throw it out? I mean, what's going to happen next?
I've no doubt the UK courts will throw it out in the long term, but they ought to release Julian in the interim. But by far the most dignified outcome would be for the United States government now to announce that in the light of these revelations, they were no longer proceeding with their request to extradite for trial and 160 years in jail of the truth teller, Julian Assange.
Absolutely. That would be justice, and hopefully that is served. George Galloway, thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Welcome.